Kia ora Martínez, welcome back to our channel. The combination Ruby Amethyst deck has been popular since the launch of Lorcana. It has been around the top meta since then. Today, we'll be talking about the different types of build and different construction of Ruby Amethyst deck, and we're going to be talking about what type of combination could be good in a certain archetype and what's the favorite matchup for those cards and those deck types. Let's have a look at the deck types.
This deck exists since from the beginning. There was the Modern Meme pack introduced and the Marine exists. So from the set to this deck is always seen in the tournament. It's because the Marines and memes are too powerful. And now, because of the set 6 and also the time passed, and those cards are quite affordable. Unless you're using the Sisu Empowered Siblings or the Elsa Spirit of Winter, you really don't have to spend a lot of dollars for building this deck, but you always need to be focused on how much genie you are running with. Okay, let's analyze Domingo's deck. So Domingo put a full set of genie and not a full set of Diablo, and he put a full set of Shisu Emboldened Warrior, and that is the most significant point, and the full set of Elsa, the fifth spirit. So those cards are quite essential if you wanna run in his deck. The other small details you can change. You don't have to put Sisu Emperor Siblings not all the time. Sisu Emboldened Warriors are always solid, so you can still run in those. But you really don't need the Emperor Sibling if you're just playing this deck for fun or for testing this deck.
As you can see, he is not actually running any of the Merlin Crab. So therefore, the Diablo package isn't there either. I personally like the Merlin Crab and Diablo package, but I guess you can see why he wouldn't be running this too.
As you say, without the Merlin Crab, Diablo is just simply the feed for the Madame Mims. So that's the reason he's not running any of Diablo's. And instead, he focusing on using Elsa and Beret to get rid of the character from the field, and he doesn't want to play Library or the Queen's Castle. He focuses on the character rather than any locations, but still using actions Bro. It's because that's simply can answer against Flame Rider or Elsa or Genie. So that's the reason he puts those cards in his deck. And then needless to say, friends on the other side, simply you can sing that song on turn 4 if you put turn 3 drop, and more likely in this deck, Shisu is the one that will sing the most. If you're facing on Season Ice by using this deck, then you probably your target will be the Hiram, and sometimes Shisu, turn 3 drop one.
I guess against green decks, you'll be probably wanting to use this against the Ursula, Deceiver of All, or the Diablo.
When you are go to the, not the store championship, but the official tournament, which is more than 50 players out there, you have to consider about the mirror match, and you always need to prepare about mirror match. About that point, this deck was well built and considered about a lot of the situation. I think most of his card choices are right, and if you want to use this deck in the store championship, I might want to change Sisu Emperor Siblings into the Elsa Spirit of Winter. Okay, let's talk about the other decks on top 8, and also the reason why they built the deck in this way. Counter Drago, I hope that I read it right. He doesn't put any Diablo in it, and he didn't want any crab in it too. But instead, he chose a small detail of changes, the white rolls, and the biggest cards with Elsa and Shisu as a utility card, and the Dragonfire. Then his choice for the location is the Queen's Castle. So his plan is most likely a little bit control plan. Still focusing on the card advantages and gaining the rolls, but he haven't relied on the genies that much, so he only put one genie. It's because he is uninkable, and this using a lot of the another uninkable cards, which is Elsa, Shisu, and Dragonfire. So if you want to run in the usual Ruby Amethyst, you might want to get rid of those one single barrett cards, which are Elsa, Spirit of Winter, and Shisu Empowered Siblings, and Dragonfire, and just use running 4 set of genie. That's gonna be your answer. But he made a choice, and this choice actually giving you a lot of the advantages when you're facing the mirror match. He wanna drop more character onto the field on turn 3 more aggressively rather than using the Madame Mim Fox. This deck additional options for you to sync friends on the other side on turn 4, and his size is solid, like he can deal with Madame Mims, and he can take down turn 1 or 2 drops, and still giving you additional 1 lore. So instead of running the full set of the Marine Gold, he focuses on or accelerates the game turn for a little bit forward. And that's the reason I put the white rose. So like this archetype, bounce control, has like 2 different types of aspect. Putting a lot of powerful cards in the early stages, or to wait and wait and wait to see how much cards the opponent can play and play the be prepared. That's why this deck has like 2 aspects and also can deal with the most of the archetypes. Because of that, some people made the choices and they're choosing some like singlet cards or a couple sets of cards. In this deck, Count Drago decided to use the powerful card in the late game and also use some uncommon cards in the early stages. So that's his choice.
Okay, let's move on to the 4th place Ruby Amethyst deck by Lukas Kaupa.
Sweet. So Lukas Kaupa keeping the golden balance, which is 45 inkable cards and 15 of uninkable cards. That he's using the text type of Ruby Amethyst. So you can see the 4 set of Brawl, 4 set of Friends on the other side, and 4 Be Prepared, and 2 Queen's Castle. And that's probably the reason other 2 players didn't put the Marine Crab, because not so many people using the Queen's Castle in this tournament, or they think that too much useless against the mirror match. So that's why they reduced the number of the locations and decided to reduce the number of the Marine Crab. That tends to like using less Marine Crab and without Diablo. And Diablo can be shown in some aggro or control decks, which is like not including the Ruby. If you have it in the Ruby, those cards are kind of unnecessary or they don't have much spot for that. And instead, like you're gonna put a lot of the Ruby cards in the late game, which is like Madame Medusa or Ready to Remain or Shisu Emperor Siblings, and Be Prepared. So I'm gonna talk about some like Marine Crab. Peter Pan Shadow Finder is a kind of the utility. This card has a lot of the aspect. The first reason you put this card is all your character which has the evasive have rush. So Jenny's one of the weakest point is a tempo. Like when you play this character, you can also gain the card advantages and you can gain the roll by questing it. However, it's quite rare Genie challenging and take down some characters, which is like more likely targeting some Shisu or like the crab. He cannot take down any of those characters, so you will lose in the tempo because of that. But the Peter Pan, if you have the Peter Pan, Genie can challenge to some of the characters like Elsa, the 5th Spirit, and which also accelerate your game speed. So that's the reason why I can say put the Peter Pan. And the second reason is simply when you're facing some aggro deck, the Peter Pan himself is work as a utility card. Again, Genie can become an answer for the most of the cards. You can gain the additional 1 card, so even you lost the Genie because of the challenging, you can still have a card advantages and you can build your game plan as well. And other option that you might gonna take is you can put Peter Pan's shadow instead of the Peter Pan himself.
Yeah.
So the huge difference is Peter Pan shadow can give evasive to the character which having a rush. So Madame Mim Fox and Mary can have the evasive and which can answer the most of the situation. The reason they didn't put those cards, or not even 1, is because his cost is 4, and in turn 4 they want to play a lot of the cards, which is Genie, Marine Gold, and Marine Rabbits. So that's the reason like not so many players decided to choose that card for a single ballot. But if you are play at the local store-wide level, that card is much more effective than the Peter Pan Shadow Finder because it has a lot of the other targets, which is like Madame Mim Fox and Maui Hero to All. Imagine that your Maui can take down Genies that easily. And needless to say, those cards are always good combination with Elsa as the 5th Spirits. So yeah, you can deal a lot of cards by using those Peter Pan or Peter Pan Shuttle. So highly recommend you put one of each, or like at least one of them into your deck if you're playing or using this deck for your store championship. I personally using Ruby Amethyst deck in previous few weeks and realized that this archetype is quite powerful, and you can make a lot of the major changes, like get rid of some cards and put a new cards, which is like Peter Pan Shadow, or Bea, or even Maui Shark. But most of the players, from what I saw, not so many players would love to use Maui Shark. You will realize that once you facing any other deck by using the Maui Shark, you realize that like, oh, this Maui doesn't have a rush. He has evasive, yes, but he's a bit too slow and too late. And the only card you wanna like pick it up is a Be Prepared. And if you're using the Be Prepared, probably that Maui Shark wouldn't be survive under the situation. So that's the reason. Like not so many players love to use the Maui Shark, and the Maui Shark actually, I'd say he's not fit into this deck. You have to put a lot of the actions because of him. Some people say it's not, but like it is. To use his potential, you actually have to put the Banish cards, which is like Dragonfire, and maybe you try to catch up the tempo, you have to put a Pirate's Life. And because of those cards, you have to focus on like control support rather than like winning the game by using Flame Rider and the Sisu Emboldened Warrior combo. And so you might lose a lot. Okay, lastly, I'm talking about the tuning this deck. So if you're the person that who already run in Ruby Amethyst, or you want to run in those decks, you can choose the location still. Even not so many like top rankers not using the location, it doesn't mean those cards aren't effective. The Queen's Castle and the Rivalry, those two locations are the options. Simply, the Queen's Castle is so powerful after the Be Prepared, or to let them challenge to your location. The Queen's Castle can be a bait card, and you can get rid of the opponent card by using the Be Prepared, or using some Marine Crab or Madame Fox combinations. The other option is a Rivalry, but those two locations has particularly different purposes. So the Queen's Castle is always effective if you have more characters onto the field. Meaning, you always count in how many characters on the field. Not only your side, but the opponent's side. If the opponent can easily take down the Queen's Castle, which is their total strength is more than 7, you really don't want to put the Queen's Castle because it's only taking the turns. Like it's a kind of the time warp card, but you're actually gonna lose your turn. So you always need to calculate how much the powers the opponent characters have, then control the board by challenging it, and then play the Queen's Castle. So that's how you use this location. However, the other one, the Rivalry, is simply giving you additional cards by challenging or challenged. If you're running those like a couple set of the Rivalry, what you have to consider is drop it onto turn 4 and move your Madame Fox onto there, or move your Cecil Emboldened Warrior to there to challenge the opponent character. Rivalry has a one more willpower than the Queen's Castle, so the Rivalry itself is a bit tough, and also you can drop it on turn 4 or turn 3. About using the Rivalry, you're focusing on the card advantages rather than the board control. Especially if that's the mirror matchup, and this is a kind of really annoyed card. So they have to take down this card in the end, but to get rid of that, they have to get rid of your characters as well. So it's totally different purposes. Both of them works really well. USB works really well against Season Ice, but now Season Ice has a couple set of the Hideaway or Cusco. So if you decide to use those locations, consider about the options, and you have to utilize your playstyle because of those locations. If you love to deal with the cards with the challenges, you can choose the Rivalry. If you want to do the board control, you can use the Queen's Castle. So it's totally up to you. It's your choice. But please remember, those cards have like different purposes. If you are using Ruby Amethyst, you can easily take down most of the opponent decks. Actually, that's the reason why you are choosing this archetype, so you really don't have to worry about most of the deck except Hyper Aggro. Hyper Aggro has the different types of strategy. They can finish the game earlier than Ruby Amethyst bounce control. It's because, like when you're playing the Madam Mim, or when you're playing a Genie, there's a turn you didn't do actually anything. To play with those cards, you're actually sacrificing your card tempo. Well, since you're still having the 12 rolls and 4 be prepared and maybe like less locations, you may have a lot of the answer against Hyper Aggro. If the opponents are running Amber Emerald Hyper Aggro or Amethyst Steel or Amethyst Amber Hyper Aggro, you might have a chance to lose against those decks. It's because simply they also got Genie as well. And what they're focusing on is actually gaining the roar rather than challenging. So while you are challenging, they're not challenging you. Meaning, they always quest, and they always focus on gaining the roar. So you have to deal with them, and you have to build the game tempo. And probably, most of the time, as I said, like this deck is quite powerful, so you don't have to worry about that much. But if you're facing well sophisticated and also really cocky build of Season on Ice, probably you need to put the locations in your deck. It's because they have a lot of the removal action cards and they might not use it Maui Shock. They might have more than 5 be prepared because of the Maui Shock. But aside from that, with the Store Championship, this is one of the most promised deck to get the first place.
Okay, so we have talked about the different types of Ruby Amethyst that you could go with certain matchups. Do let us know in the comments what sort of cards you guys would like to see being played in Ruby Amethyst, as well as what sort of type do you recommend being played as well. We would love to hear your opinion. We are releasing Lorcana related content till the 25th of December, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching this video and we'll see you in the next one. Stay ready till next time.